welcome to Late Night Review, where we talk about what's happening.
And what's not.
I'm your host, Emily Kohler,
I'm Kaylee Law.
and here are tonight's top stories.
It's been a bit of a wild week since President Donald Trump, one of the most prominent figures to continuously minimize and spread false information regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, announced he had tested positive for the virus October 2nd. After a 3-day stint at Walter Reed Medical Center, Trump returned to the White House with a message to the American people about coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. Honestly, we shouldn't be surprised. It's a well-known fact that Donald Trump is only afraid of 3 things: immigrants, taxes, and a strong gust of wind.
New Caledonia voted no to independence from France for the second time in 2 years. In accordance and solidarity with New Caledonia, I also voted no to independence from my mommy.
Who you gonna call? 911, apparently. Acclaimed actor, comedian, and former Ghostbusters star Rick Moranis was assaulted on Central Park West in broad daylight early October, the assailant having punched the 67-year-old Moranis so hard it knocked him to the ground. While the attack is considered random and the aggressor unknown, my experience tells me we might be dealing with a disgruntled film major with a case of mistaken identity.
The French Open happened this past month, and it must have been in Tennessee because it was the only tennis I see. Just kidding, I did not watch it. Although sources say that the tournament brought a new meaning to the word we, tennis.
Renowned fashion designer Kenzo Takada has passed away after contracting COVID-19 at the age of 81. The fashion powerhouse was well known for being the first Japanese designer to break into Paris's exclusive fashion scene in the 1970s. Fashionistas around the world mourned this loss. When asked for comment, one of them replied, "This pandemic is not boots the house down realness for your nerves work."
Billie Eilish dropped the music video for her new James Bond theme song, No Time to Die, and I had no time to watch. The movie, coming out on November 20th in the US, is 52-year-old Daniel Craig's last romp in the role. Leaked scenes show him using a rail on stairways, picking up prescriptions, and accidentally orientation locking his phone for 3 weeks.
Characters Steve and Alex from the hit sandbox video game series Minecraft make their debut on Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate today, and the hype is real! I think. Maybe. The hype is certainly real for Minecraft players, however, as it appears that fans have been waiting for Steve and Alex to smash for a long time.
A paper crown famously worn by Notorious B.I.G. and signed by him sold for $594,750 at a hip-hop memorabilia auction. Other items auctioned off were Drake's wheelchair from Degrassi, salt and pepper shakers, and Kanye's ego.
The confirmation of Judge and Supreme Court hopeful Amy Coney Barrett is moving forward in spite of the rise in COVID-19 cases among politicians who attended her nomination event at the White House early October. Why her again? I mean, aside from being anti-choice and wanting to overturn Roe v. Wade and limit the bodily autonomy of American women, I mean, she can't even get her alphabet right. Read a book!
Climate activists gathered in the Danube-Roder forest just north of Frankfurt, Germany, in order to prevent the Autobahn from building a motorway extension through the forest. Thousands of protesters showed up and 16 arrests were made by the police. The tree huggers were startled to find a witch's house made of candy and butterscotch trail through the woods. So the first presidential debate was just 2 weeks ago, and we're still feeling the shock of it. But here to cheer me up is the most carefree guy I know, my friend Todd.
Heyo!
Hey Todd, how are you doing?
Pretty great, all things considered. I mean, you can already tell intervention season is in the air, and now I gotta gear up for my nanny pulling me over to the fireplace and telling me how concerned she is about my new habits, and to please wear pants when you come down from your room, Todd. We have glass windows and it scares the neighbors.
Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Are you sure everything's okay?
I'm fine, Kaylee, I'm fine. They do it every year, no sweat off my back. And it's not even like the neighbors care. Nanny lives next to a school for the blind, So if one of them complained about my clothes, I wouldn't even be mad. It'd be a miracle.
That's awful, Todd. I thought you were going to talk about the presidential debate.
You find that less depressing? I mean, anyway, regarding the debate, my understanding is we got these two guys, right? Two dudes, two bros, both who clearly ran and campaigned on being chummy, like face the common man type of deal. Yet, looking at these two guys, I can only describe as looking like pieces of burned leather. I don't know. I don't know how chummy I'd want to be with that. You get it? You understand?
Is that a rhetorical question?
And then we get to the hairdos. We have Biden over there rocking what my nanny calls the geriatric greaser, and Trump wearing all the rage in his post-autopsy Draco Malfoy.
You have a pretty bleak take on these candidates.
Why do you think I've turned to drugs? Speaking of which, woo! It's time for Todd's take!
Oh, Todd, we actually don't have that much time left.
Then call this a speed run. Bam! First take. Biden called Trump a clown. Very funny. However, I was reminded of my fear of clowns. So 7 out of 10. Now, zooming over to the moderator confrontation, which, let's be real, there's a lot to unpack. Trump asks, "Can I be honest?" To which Biden responds, "Try to be." A subtle yet slick burn on his part. So this one gets 5 lion's heads out of 6. Todd stakes. Next, the moderator tried to calm everyone down.
I'll bet that was a good moment.
Honestly, not a fan. You have a UFC fight about to break out, and you decide, nah, this isn't good TV. Let's have old men try and make nuanced political points. That'd be so much more fun. So he gets 2 please claps out of 8. Clap, you stupid bastards. Todd stakes.
Oh, okay. Point taken.
Biden then follows calling Trump Putin's puppy, which are strong words from a man who looks like a turtle who's been forced to watch Love Island reruns for weeks. And also, I gotta admit, from Todd's point of view, that was a little saucy insult. Not gonna lie. He earned 7.3 Sleepy Joes out of 9.
What are these rating systems that you're using?
But my personal highlight from the debate would be where the leader of the free world mocked a man for being too safe. Trump said, and I quote, "Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be 200 feet away and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen." Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to Todd, but off rip based on absurdity alone, he gets 6 Kung Flus out of 6. Non-negotiable.
Wow, I can't believe he said that while we're in a literal pandemic, Todd.
The irony of that man kills me.
Well, Todd, it looks like we're out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers before you go?
In all seriousness, we're at a crossroads in American history, and it matters more than ever that we all get out and vote like our lives depend on it, because, they do.
That's actually a great point, Todd.
Even still, you can't deny it's at least somewhat ironic that
Kaylee's friend, Todd, everybody.
Social media sites Twitter and TikTok have now prohibited death threats made to President Donald Trump after his positive coronavirus test result. Instead of wishing him death, let's all wish him a happy birthday. And we'll all know what that means.
Music festivals across the globe are planning a phased return in 2021 after the economic and social wipeout of the COVID-19 pandemic throughout this past year. Attendees will be abiding by post-COVID guidelines throughout the use of thermoscanners, wristbands which alert a lack of social distancing, and 6-foot silly straws to snort coke out of a friend's butt crack the safe way.
The Dallas Stars lost in the 6th game of the Stanley Cup Finals to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Though the Stars' backup goalie Anton Khudobin, nicknamed Dobby, made 39 saves to force Game 6, he and his Stars fared about as well as his namesake against the torrential downpour of Lightning's defense. The entirety of the Stanley Cup games were played in bubbles in Edmonton and Toronto, yet both teams were American. In fact, a Canadian team hasn't won the Cup since 1993. For hockey, Canada, in response to this, Canadians said, "Hey, stop being better at our thing. Go back to your things, over-sexualizing and committing war crimes, America."
The ruler of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmad al-Sabah, has died at the age of 91. Born in the era of pearl diving, his life spanned the discovery of oil and Kuwait's emergence as one of the richest countries in the world. Sheikh Sabah is succeeded by his brother and crown prince Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmad al-Sabah. If I were him, I'd keep my phone on airplane mode the next couple of weeks, or he's about to get a 2 a.m. text from George W. Bush going, "Heard the news. How you holding up? Just thinking about the good old days."
Figures in the art industry are asking for museums to reverse their decision to postpone a Philip Guston retrospective depicting the KKK and making commentary on racial violence and American identity. The museum says that because of the emergence of conversations about racial justice that has erupted worldwide, they are delaying the show by 3 years. Because that's the best way to contribute to a conversation, is to remove someone's voice. For 3 years. That's the literal age of a toddler. If a baby was born right now, by the time this exhibit came out, its IQ would be equal to that of an average KKK member.
Magawa, a rat that has been trained to detect explosives, was awarded the British PDSA Gold Medal for bravery in searching out unexploded landmines in Cambodia. The first ever rat winner has helped to clear nearly 1.5 million square feet of land and is believed to have saved lives in the process. I'd like to see Remy the Rat do that, stinking smug jackass.
Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk director Barry Jenkins is set to direct the live-action Lion King sequel, which is going to be a prequel to the first one. The film will center on a strong black mamba discovering its homosexuality throughout the course of its life.
In one of the largest acquisitions in video game history, Microsoft has reached a $7.5 billion deal acquiring Bethesda Softworks, including its properties such as Fallout, Doom, and The Elder Scrolls. This move comes hot on the heels of the PlayStation 5 release, and it's suspected that the deal was to give the Xbox console a competitive edge. Which would be great, except for the fact that nobody wants an Xbox Series X! It's a clunky, black, 3D printed rectangle. Compared to that sexy obelisk that is the PS5, it's a no-brainer.
A woman in Australia found that her headaches were being caused by tapeworm larvae that was in her brain. This is the first native case of this disease, known as neurocysticercosis, happening in Australia. Or, as I like to call it, oh no, I gotta go, sis.
In settling a tax dispute, which no one who reported on this story cared about, apparently, Ireland's Supreme Court has ruled that bread produced by the fast food chain Subway is too high in sugar to legally be bread, and is actually closer to cake. And the numbers don't lie. When measured, sugar makes up about 10% of its total flour weight, just like how Subway sandwiches make up to 20% of my fat ass. For Late Night Review, I'm Kaylee Law.
And I'm Emily Kohler.
Good night.
Good night.
Some of us from Houston, some of us from Dallas, some close to Mexico. Shout out to the valley. Watch Longhorn.